that sunburned guy some mint chocolate chip ice cream already? Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. Today I'm going to be talking about Disney's 2002 animated sci-fi comedy drama, Lilo and Stitch. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content like reviews, rank lists, and trailer reactions. All my reviews include a breakdown of the pros and cons, my rating, and even some tailored film recommendations, so be sure to watch through to the end of this video for all of that extra content. Lilo and Stitch stars the vocal talents of Daveigh, Tia Carrere, and Ving Rhames, and was co-directed by Chris Sanders and DeBlois. It tells the story of a runaway alien genetic experiment who crash lands in Hawaii, befriending a young girl in search of friendship and belonging. 2002 was an odd time for Disney. After the immense success of the Renaissance era, which spanned from The Little Mermaid to Tarzan, the studio fell into something. I don't think we can classify it as a slump exactly, though it was certainly considered to be one by many critics at the time. It was just something different. It was the post-Renaissance era. This was a weird and very experimental time for the studio, full of new ideas and new techniques. The early portion of this era featured many non-musicals, breaking away from Disney tradition, and certainly Renaissance-era tradition. There's been a kind of broad-scale reassessment of these films in recent years, with many of them achieving something akin to cult status within the Disney roster. There's also seemingly been some newfound critical appreciation of some of the things that were widely considered to be too weird or daring for a kids' movie at the time. Though, this might all just be the result of shifting demographics within the critical sphere, because I can tell you, as kids, we millennials liked these weird little post-Renaissance films. I was born during the Renaissance era, and raised on those movies, but I was still young enough to watch and enjoy the early post-Renaissance era from a kid's perspective, those films from 2000 to 2003. They were unlike anything Disney had done before. They were experimental. They took chances and swung for the fences without their ideas, breaking molds and traditions along the way. So, it should come as no surprise that Lilo and Stitch is a very weird movie. Now, I don't consider that to be a bad thing, and I'm definitely not saying it in a negative way, but it is extremely weird, situating itself nicely within the post-Renaissance era. I can certainly understand why this bizarre departure from Disney animated norms took some time to be appreciated, beyond its cute, highly marketable extraterrestrial. But this scratched that itch for weird kids at the start of the millennium. A sci-fi coming-of-age family comedy drama with prominent downbeat themes isn't something you see every day, especially for a Disney movie. It's definitely a unique mashup of ideas. Genetically modified aliens, surfing, a broken family, Elvis? It's all pretty weird on paper, but somehow cohesively works to create an entertaining and heartfelt story. There's a lot going on in this film. It's frenetic at times, with big action set pieces and over-the-top, decidedly unrealistic plot beats and character moments. And yet, the core emotions keep it grounded in a surprisingly relatable way. Despite the intergalactic scope of the film, Lilo and Stitch is primarily a story of characters. Lilo and Stitch are obviously the main focus here as the titular stars. Lilo is unlike any other kid character in a Disney movie, believable as a weird but otherwise typical kid. She's a little whiny and gets into trouble, but is ultimately caring and kind-hearted. Named after the Hawaiian word for lost, Lilo is very weird, but in a wonderful set of ways. She's an Elvis-obsessed 6-year-old who carries a creepy homemade doll, feeds peanut butter sandwiches to fish, makes voodoo dolls of her classmates, and spends her free time taking photos of obese tourists on the beach. She's strange, misunderstood, and in need of a friend. Truly, Lilo. And then we've got Stitch, the alien genetic experiment 626, on the run and programmed to destroy. He's chaotic and selfish, full of destructive energy, but with the capacity for compassion. Stitch discovers a certain type of kinship with Lilo. They're both outsiders, both misunderstood and searching for a sense of belonging. As a kid, I enjoyed Stitch's antics and found that Lilo had a certain relatability to her, but as an adult, I find myself liking the underappreciated Nani more and more. Lilo's sister, turned caregiver, is still just a teenager herself, but has taken on responsibilities beyond her years. doing everything she can to give her sister a good life, and becoming a big part of the emotional core of the movie as a result. Lilo and Stitch is a bit tonally wild as a film. The sci-fi elements, the action scenes and big chase sequences, some of the more slapstick humor, the frenetic extraterrestrial energy, it all gives the impression and lasting memory of something bouncy and upbeat. But this film is actually pretty heavy with some of its themes and sad or emotional moments. This ends up keeping the movie walking a thin line between exciting and depressing, or at least very downbeat, throughout the runtime. Lilo is darkly funny early on, but her and Nani's situation is quite sad, made all the more stressful by the looming threat of Lilo being taken away by a social worker. Add a destructive blue koala from outer space into the mix, and you've got emotional and tonal chaos. But at its core, Lilo and Stitch is a story of family, of Ohana. It may be a non-traditional family, but it's family. Sisterhood is on prominent display here, focusing on a situation not often seen in animated films. A sibling acting as a legal guardian, struggling to make it work in order to keep what little is left of the family together. Lilo and Nani have really believable sibling interactions here, and there's underlying poignancy to their relationship. So even when Stitch comes into the picture, threatening to destroy everything, he finds a loving family and a home. This is a movie that shows that it's okay to be weird. It's okay to feel a little lost and like you don't really fit in, because you can always find a place where you do fit. At its heart, this is really a movie about belonging. So yeah, Lilo and Stitch is an incredibly weird film, and maybe it doesn't feel like it fits in with the likes of Snow White or Beauty and the Beast or The Lion King, but just because it seems a little weird and doesn't look like it should fit in, doesn't mean that it doesn't belong. It's part of the Disney Ohana. It's family. It won't be left behind, and it certainly won't be forgotten. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. Pro number one has got to be the themes. For a movie with as much sci-fi action and comedy as this one has, the number of heartfelt and frankly heavy themes it also has is surprising. It's this weird mix of hopeful but also very downbeat. At its core, this is a film about finding belonging and the Hawaiian concept of ohana. I think anybody who's seen the movie knows that ohana means family, but it's broader than that, going beyond immediate blood relations to include extended and even chosen family, like destructive little blue aliens. This found family element is prominent in the film thanks to Stitch's arrival, but Lilo and Nani's now non-traditional family dynamic and unique sisterly relationship is encompassed by ohana as well. Like I said, a lot of these themes have this underlying downbeat quality to them, but it's a movie that presents them in a hopeful and positive manner, showing that anybody can find a place to belong. The second pro is the creativity. I was initially going to say the weirdness, which is certainly still encompassed here, but this film's creativity goes beyond just being weird or quirky. Lilo and Stitch offers a unique mix of ideas and characters. We've certainly seen movies about aliens befriending lonely kids before, but there's something different to the dynamic here, especially for a Disney movie. And this creativity goes beyond just story, to elements like the animation as well. This was the era when Disney was starting to bring more and more CG techniques into their films, but this movie was a traditionally hand-drawn 2D film, just with a very atypical for Disney art style. It also employed watercolor backgrounds, a technique that hadn't been used in a Disney film since Dumbo more than 60 years earlier. On the con side, the biggest issue is how frenetic this film is. There's a lot of energy here, sometimes too much. The emotional moments give us a bit of breathing room, but the sci-fi and alien plotlines propel the story quickly and a bit chaotically. As a character, Lilo can be a lot at times, and Stitch, as a literal agent of destructive chaos, is even more so. So, the two of them combined can be a chaotically energetic, destructive force that threatens to overpower and distract from the emotional core of the film. Though, I have to admit, this freneticism is certainly effective at holding a kid's attention. Before I give you my rating recommendations, I want to remind you that if you're interested in buying Lilo and Stitch, or any of the other films I mentioned today, I do have affiliate links for all of them in the description below. I get a small commission from anything you buy using one of my links, so I'd really appreciate it if you'd use them if you're in the market for any of these movies. I'm gonna give Lilo and Stitch 3.5 out of 5 paws. It's a bizarre mashup of ideas, genres, and energy that tells an unexpectedly heartfelt story of family and finding a sense of belonging. It's a bit frenetic and tonally chaotic, plus some of the characters can irritate at times, but this is an odd little film that's earned its place in the Disney Ohana. I would recommend Lilo and Stitch to people looking for an animated movie that's weird, but not too weird. It's got an unexpected blend of genres and ideas, not to mention a bit of a downbeat thematic tilt, but still feels fresh and unique, all while retaining some classic feel-good Disney takeaway messages. This is a good movie for sisters, and anybody who feels like they're weird or a bit of an outsider will be able to relate to more than one of the characters. The frenetic energy and some of the humor does lend itself a bit more to younger audiences, but the heavier themes and some of the characters make it an enjoyable watch for adults as well. If you liked Lilo and Stitch, I would recommend The Iron Giant. This is another emotional and heartfelt animated story about a misunderstood alien with destructive programming who finds family and a sense of purpose after meeting a lonely kid in need of a friend. If you'd like another semi-downbeat Hawaii-set Disney film, you might want to watch Rip Girls. This early 2000s Disney Channel original movie is another coming-of-age story about finding belonging, featuring poignant emotional undercurrents, devastating family loss, and, of course, surfing. And if you'd prefer another alien meets young kid in need of a friend family classic, you can't go wrong with E.T. the Extraterrestrial. E.T. isn't nearly as destructive as Stitch, but this remains a heartwarming tale of found family, friendship, and tolerance. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen Lilo and Stitch? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, what's your favorite movie from Disney's post-Renaissance era? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insider information on this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe if you're at it to see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainely Movies, the way life should be.